We're snorting cap rates and shooting up cash flow here at Deal Junkies.
Welcome back to Deal Junkies. Pretty good, right? No? Okay. Well, all right, we're here.
Let's just get to cash flow and cap rates.
All right, we're here in the studio without Gabe. Gabe's in Belize.
I believe so. I'm sorry.
Gabe's having his anniversary, 12th, 13th, some year anniversary with Jan, who's way cooler than Gabe, his wife. But we're here today with Alex Lawson. So Alex is going to talk to us about investing in the Midwest, which is Southeast. Same thing to me.
Yeah. Anything to the other side of Mississippi.
Anything that's not over here is Midwest.
It's more than a 2-hour flight away. Trevor is not.
Yep.
Lots of time on the plane.
So Alex owns over about $8 million worth of real estate. Cash flows like $180,000 a year. And how old are you now?
34.
Yeah, so you're pretty young doing all that too. And we met at the meetup, right? Is the first time I saw you. So if you guys aren't going to meetups, you can come meet people like Alex and Mike and Dane.
Why would you go to a meetup to see these guys?
Because
just
we
to
were
hang out with everyone.
Here, and I was like, I need to get into real estate out here. And we were part of meetups back east and had a pretty good network, and we want to do what we're doing back there out here. And you just got to start getting in the crowds and meeting people.
And how long? When did you move here?
October.
Oh
no. We first meetup was in October. We moved here in August.
Keep this close to your face.
Wow.
Too.
All right. So what? August, September, 2 months after moving here, you go to a meetup to try and get back into the real estate community or a local community. Good for you, dude. Just knows how the game's played.
Yeah. Let's go. I honestly, I've met you a couple times at the meetup, but I really know very little about you.
Oh, that's awesome.
I want to go back to the start. So where are you from? Obviously not here.
I am from Tennessee.
Okay.
But my family was split, divorced parents. My dad's side moved out here to be a pastor at a church. My grandfather. And that's why we're back out here is because there's a girl at the church that I kind of had a crush on since I was like a little kid. Wow. And we ended up getting married about 7 years ago. And now I got a bunch of kids. And so we're back out here to be around her family.
Gotcha. Okay.
Dream as a little Tennessee kid was to marry an Oregonian girl that you met.
100%, and I achieved it, and I am ecstatic about it. So it took about 20 years, but that was persistence well paid off.
Is that how long you guys have known each other?
Oh, we've known each other since I was 4, she was 3.
Did she feel the same way, or were you just chasing for?
She did, and then in high school. I'm just gonna blast her on this. In high school, she decided she didn't want to know who she'd married, and so she cut it off. And she ended up we separated ways. I moved back, and I was like, well, if I can't marry Jasmine, I'll go join the military. So went and joined the military. She ended up getting married. Dude turned out to be a turd, and I actually got a message. I was fixing to go to Ranger school. And I got a message from my grandmother, and it was like, hey, did you know Jasmine's single? And I was like, no, I had no idea Jasmine was single. So I slid into her DMs, and I might unplug myself.
All good.
And then no more Ranger school?
Oh, no, I was like, hey, I was pretty artful with it. I was like, hey, I don't have anybody to write when I go to Ranger school. Do you mind if I write you some letters?
Oh,
no
and so
way.
She's playing the long game negotiation.
I did. And got to spend extra time in Ranger school because I was not good at it.
That's a good frame.
So you got to write a lot of letters.
So I got to write a whole lot of letters.
I got a buddy in the same boat.
And eventually she's like, hey, I might be having feelings for you. And I was like, oh, thank God. She ended up inviting herself to a wedding I was going to and that I might have mentioned. And it's all history from there.
Wow. That's crazy. So what's your time? Did you go to college or did you go straight into the military?
I went to a military college.
Okay.
So I went to the Citadel. It's a military college in South Carolina.
Okay.
And you commission into either Army, Marines, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard. They have all the ROTCs there.
Gotcha.
About 50% of us do commission into the military.
Okay.
And start our careers there. The rest go into the business world.
What's the best branch? Is it the Army?
Depends on what you're good at. Every time I see a jet flying over, I was like, man, I should have been in the Air Force. Those Marines are really cool. I was not smart enough to be in any branch but the Army.
Tough enough to be a Ranger, though.
Yeah. You have to be really smart to be an officer in the other branches.
Okay.
You have to have a pulse.
Dude, you're way smarter than all those guys. You cash flow 180 grand a year and own a bunch of real estate.
Yeah, but those guys were science majors with 3.9 GPAs.
Isn't
Useless skills.
I didn't hear you say.
Isn't Delta Force in the Army?
And
aren't they better than SEALs?
They're kind
Just
of
not
a
as
combination of a bunch of things, but all those guys are good at the specific thing. Those guys are Those guys are good at.
Right. I didn't know we were talking about the military.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to go. I like getting to know people.
Yeah.
And like I also like getting to know how you got to the point where you're at.
Yeah.
Because I assume that there was some point in there while you were in the military that I don't know if you were always entrepreneurial or like what made you decide to.
No, I wasn't. So if you were in the military, you have access to the VA loan. I'm sure you guys know that.
Oh yeah.
I was back to Ranger School. I was in Ranger School hanging out with my buddies because we weren't that great. And we were all going to the same unit. And I was like, hey, what do you guys want to all live together? And we were doing that at Benning. We were all going to Campbell.
Yeah.
And let's all rent an apartment together. And, it's $1,500 a month. We each get a basic housing allowance of $1,200, split it 4 ways, pocket the rest.
Yeah.
Got out and couldn't find an apartment we liked. So I was like, hey, do you guys care if I just buy a big house and you guys rent it out for me? So I found a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house. I bought it for $150,000, used the VA loan, 0% down, actually walked away with $800 to buy the house because there was like some I don't know how it worked, but
That's illegal. You can't do that. That's illegal.
Government gave you money to
my
live in a
escrow
house.
money, and then when they gave me money back at closing, I had an $800 check and a $1,000 gift card, and I was like, this is pretty cool.
Sick. So how old were you at that time?
I was 25.
Okay.
25,
So 9 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 16. So yeah, I just turned 26.
Mm-hmm.
And then as those guys got out of Ranger School, moved to Campbell, they all started moving in with me. They paid me $500 a month in rent. We all deployed like 2 weeks later. So they were still paying me $500 a month in rent. So I was getting $1,500 and my mortgage was $7,000.
When your utilities were super low and you didn't have to pay a cleaning
we were
bill
all
because no one lived there.
So you just had them paying you for a vacant house?
Well, they needed a place to put their stuff.
Yeah.
So
Storage
we were
unit.
coming back.
Yeah. Where were you deployed at?
Kosovo.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was a pretty dumb deployment. But
Somebody had to do it.
I guess.
Thank you for deploying. For your service.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I got the start. It worked.
What made you think that was a good idea?
I wanted to live with my buddies.
To buy the house? Yeah. So it was just like, this is the
we
reason.
can't get an apartment.
No shot.
Let's
it was
see if we
just
can
like
buy
you
a
fell
house.
into it. It
Yeah,
wasn't
it was
like you weren't
completely
investing in real estate. It was just like,
I just
well,
needed a place to
the
live.
math makes sense. And
I didn't even know the math at that point. I was just like, I knew it was. I mean, even if I had to pay a couple $100,
yeah, it would have been better.
I didn't realize my
Yeah.
mortgage was going to be like $700 something.
That's so funny. So how much was that house then?
It was $150.
Yeah, I was gonna say yeah.
It was Tennessee in 2016.
Gotcha.
It was pretty cheap. That was before COVID, so it was before everybody moved to Tennessee out of California.
Yeah.
That place has exploded. So that's
Yeah.
a $320,000 house now.
Is that the case everywhere, or is that like just Nashville, MSA?
Nashville, Knoxville.
Yeah.
And the
really
Smokies.
exploded. The Smokies, I think, was the short-term rentals game. That's fun to watch as it is starting to fall apart right
Yeah,
now.
I assume it's crumbling.
Dude.
Oh, it is, and I'm so excited because I want a house there because it's where I grew up. So I was like, now's a good time to get in. So hopefully, that's the goal for this year is to get a short-term rental in the Smokies.
Oh wow,
Yeah, the
that's
Smokies
awesome.
was
Hey, you can
a
crank
gross
this thing and
misunderstanding.
change the height
of
if you want.
patterns.
Oh, my bad.
You can turn this, and then just keep it a little closer so we can hear it better. Cool. So you did that first house. You were like, "This is pretty cool," and you started to like real estate after that, or you still weren't even thinking real estate
Still
at that
wasn't even
point.
thinking real estate. So at that point, Jasmine and I got engaged, and I was like, "Hey, do you want me to kick these guys out and we can live here?" And it was a split level, and Jasmine did not like the idea of a split level, so I was like, "Well, let's go look at another house, see if we can buy another one." We were able to use the VA loan again, another 0% down, and we did a new build that time, which was really neat for a newlywed couple. We had a brand new house to move into to start our marriage in, and it was a really neat experience.
So with the VA loan, typically people don't think you can do 0 down multiple times. Can you explain how that works?
I'm not a loan officer,
Okay.
but I know I've been able to buy 3 houses at one time with 0%.
Yeah, VA is not like FHA. So FHA can only have one FHA loan, but VA,
Yeah,
you can,
it's due to your like entitlement, right? And it's individualized to every person.
It is. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So
I still have no idea how that works. So you hold multiple 0 down VA loans?
I have 2 right now. I did cash one of them out.
Okay. Wow. Cool.
And then I've
That's a
got
good deal.
about $400,000 in entitlement right now.
Trevor's been thinking about joining the military for that.
I think that's a great idea.
yeah. It's an investment thing,
Yeah.
and to serve the country.
Yeah, investment mostly.
Yeah, mostly.
And if you're an
investment.
officer, you get paid pretty good.
Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, if you make about $100,000 a year as an officer.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a lot
Are
of
you
work.
still on military payroll?
I am not. I'm a disabled vet.
Okay.
So I'm 100%. I know I don't look it, but I'm 100% disabled.
Mm-hmm.
So
Really?
yeah,
Very functional.
yeah.
Good
had
for you.
had a big old brain tumor, and I'm missing about that big piece of skull.
Oh shit!
Oh.
Yeah,
Is that from a bullet?
I know it's from getting rear-ended by a semi truck.
Oh shit!
Yeah. Not a fun story.
No,
In the military?
but you're laughing about
Or-
it. So
Yeah, no, it was totally a God thing. I left work one day and was sitting at a stoplight, and a tractor trailer's brakes went out and just creamed me. And it was a total God thing because I didn't know I had the brain tumor at that time.
Oh, wow.
So
way.
they were went to the chiropractor, and he's checking out my neck, and they're like, "Hey, there's something in the base of your skull. We need to get this checked out." And they found a golf ball sized brain tumor when they were
No way.
checking it out.
I was gonna be honest with you. I'm not a doctor. But when you were like, yeah, I got a brain tumor from getting rear-ended by a semi truck.
No, not connected.
No, I know. They just sounded connected when you said.
Yeah, no, it was connected
dude,
by we found it.
I don't know how that works.
while
Well, that's
getting
good
checked out.
happenstance.
It was a huge blessing.
Huh.
But that was during the middle of COVID, and it was where it was at was kind of a sketchy location. So we spent a lot of time trying to find a doctor that would operate on it.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yep.
Do you know what kind of tumor it was?
Vegetables, not vegetable. What it starts with a V? And
Vegetables?
schwannoma. Yeah, it's a vegetable schwannoma. It's not really vegetables, but I don't know how to pronounce it.
Vegetables.
Vegetable or something like
Vegetable. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's a good thing to get out of your head early. I heard.
that. Yeah,
Well, good. So that was, what year was that?
that was 2020.
Okay, that was right as COVID hit. Gotcha. And then you had 2 houses at this point. And
No, well, he started in 2016, so you had quite a bit more before then. I'm
At that
assuming, right?
point, so every time we would move with the Army, we would just buy another house and turn it
Okay.
into a rental property. So we had 3 at that time.
Okay, so not a
and
ton
then
more. Yeah.
in 2019, I'd been listening to Bigger Pockets a lot,
There we go.
and we decided to give investing in real estate a shot. So December of 2019, we bought two properties in Georgia.
Gotcha.
So how'd you buy those? Because you weren't owner occupying them now, right?
Yeah.
I was not. So obviously, and I'm sure this will come up a lot throughout the podcast, is things are infinitely cheaper in Georgia. So I wasn't really sure what to do. I knew I wanted to invest in real estate. I hadn't even identified any properties yet. And I just went to Navy Federal Credit Union and was like, "Hey, can I borrow some money?" And they're like, "Oh, how much you need to borrow?" And I was like, I didn't know. So I was like, "Hey, can I borrow $50,000?" And they're like, "What's it for?" And I was like, home renovations. And they're like, "No, you can't borrow 50." I was like, "Well, can I borrow 40?" They're like, "We can give you 35." So they gave me $35,000, 18% interest. Just
just a line of credit.
not even a line of credit.
Not
They just
secured
put-
to anything.
They put $35,000 in my bank account. the next day.
Okay.
The next
Just
so
a
you said
personal
to
loan.
start paying on it.
Yeah, I had to start paying on it right away. So I was like,
I
"Oh,
got my
I
deal."
guess I need to buy a house." So I get on Facebook Marketplace, and back there, a lot of wholesalers put their houses on Facebook Marketplace, and I found one for $7,000. And I was like, "Hey, I'd be interested in going and looking at this." He's like, "Well,
There's
I've
a
got-"
reason, Dane. Don't drop your coffee.
Oh yeah.
I'm not. I just,
Why would someone want to sell their home for $7,000?
that's what I know. I
People
understand.
want to buy it for $7,000.
The wholesaler was selling it for $7,000.
Yeah. So
The seller was selling it for like $3,500. And he's like, "I got 2 of them. One's 7, one's 9. And I was like, "Sure, let's do it." So we closed $16,000, and now I owned two houses.
So what are those worth? Explain those deals, like, because everyone over here right now is
It's
like,
just-
"Holy shit,
well,
I gotta go to Georgia
First thing I
right
want to
now."
know, were the property taxes paid, or did you have to come on top of your purchase price to pay off taxes?
I didn't have to pay it. My price was I paid $16,000 for both houses. He did have to come back. A significant part of his $3,500 that he was getting on each property did go back to pay property taxes.
Yep.
Property taxes was like $200 a month back then.
Yeah, but they stack up. That's
And
like
you
the
don't pay
reason
them
they're
for,
so
like, 10
cheap
years.
is they're just degenerate properties that no one cares about, and they
Yep.
don't do the maintenance. They don't pay the property taxes, and stuff just piles up.
Yeah.
What did the neighborhood look like?
Now it's
A war zone?
Now it's a straight up war zone. Then it was not as bad.
Really? I thought it was Portland that went downhill during COVID. It was
so-
Alabama.
so Georgia-
I thought Alabama's where they had laws.
Yeah, we do. And so they did a lot of gentrification.
Okay.
And it pushed a lot.
So
of that.
this was outside of Birmingham.
It was a couple streets over from really bad areas.
Okay.
And then as these areas got demoed to put in new housing, all those folks moved.
You were saying this was in Georgia, correct?
This is in Georgia, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida.
Gotcha. Okay. Wow.
Okay, so what'd you do with those deals? You buy them for 16 total. What do you put into them? What are they worth?
So we used the other like $20,000 and some credit cards to finish up fixing the one, and that took a long time. We also did all the work at that point ourselves, and we had an uncle that came and helped.
Oh, would you recommend to beginners to do the work themselves?
I fully enjoyed it. I think we were also kind of partial because that was COVID, and that was right after my accident. And I wasn't allowed to go into work anymore. I was having issues with vision. I was having issues with dizziness and just like...
So you decided to renovate a house with your bad vision and your dizziness.
Yeah, caulk and paint will fix a lot of things.
The landlord's special.
So it was really therapeutic for me just to have a place that I could work.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure I would recommend that for everybody.
I mean, I find it
really
just
good for us.
Costs more and takes longer when people try to
Depends
do it
on
themselves.
whether you have skills or not.
Yeah, unless you're
yeah.
if you're just someone who's the normal person who hasn't done that, they think it's cheaper, but it's never cheaper.
We have a lot of family that is
handy
construction. My dad was a general contractor. My brother-in-law was a general contractor.
Okay.
My wife, when she was going through issues, she worked with my brother-in-law. Same thing, going through that. So he'd like, come over here. You can help me paint. You can help me do flooring. You can help me that.
So did you see these houses before you bought them?
I saw the inside of one.
So you actually drove to the neighborhoods?
Yeah.
And you're okay with the neighborhoods when you bought it?
I had no idea what to do.
What does that mean? Were you scared when you drove to the neighborhood?
No. I wasn't. I felt good.
Okay.
And I was comfortable working in that neighborhood then with my family.
Okay.
Now it is, I would drive through there with my family, and we have. But I mean, I was working till like midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I would not do that with them there anymore.
Right.
Because it's gone downhill pretty hard. It's pretty sad.
So did you refinance out of those assets? You still own them? What was it?
I did. I refinanced out of them. We've just started flipping, but everything we've bought, we pretty much own. Everything we've bought with the intent of renting, we own. So we fixed it up. We put about $30,000 into it.
Combined into both of those?
No, into the first one.
Gotcha.
So bought it for $7, put $30 into it.
Gotcha.
We refinanced out of it, paid off that line of credit, and was able to put it. It appraised at like 110.
Oh wow.
The one house or both together?
The one.
Okay. Wow.
So we were actually able to put about $20,000 in our pocket.
So were those common deals just at that time?
They were left and right. You could get them all over the place. And if I'd known like what I know now, I probably would have a few more houses.
Yeah.
But I didn't. So we got those ones, and then so we took that money, did the next one, did the same thing, put another $30,000 in our pocket, rented them out, and so the mortgages on those properties are $420 on one, $525 on the other. One rents out at $1,100, one rents out at $1,350.
And what are expenses on those two?
Well, my mortgage is
outside of mortgage, yeah.
The expenses, they're really not that bad because one of the things we do is we go in and I joke, we take them down the studs. Sometimes we take them down to the dirt. So it's new electrical, new HVAC, new plumbing.
So you don't have any CapEx?
Well, we do try to put money aside because I know those things are coming. They have new roofs on them, new windows, but the maintenance is minimal because it's...
I'm more like what I really want to know is, okay, so what is the vacancy like and what is the turnover process? And when why are people moving? Are they just giving you, hey, we're moving now, and they move out, or are you having to terminate leases more than people are just moving out?
So those two houses are actually a little rougher than normal. We do have long-term tenants in them now, but we've had significant turnover in them. I did have one tenant in there for 3 years. She was Section 8. I'm a big fan of Section 8. Probably 80% of my portfolio now is Section 8. And so those ones are a little bad. The rest of them are I don't have a lot of turnover. Vacancy, we have out of the entire portfolio, we have one vacant property right now.
And do you find that you have less turnover with the Section 8 base than you do a non-Section 8? Because they're similar income class technically.
I've had 2 Section 8 tenants move out.
Yeah.
The entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also a fan of our Section 8 program. They
I'm learning some neat things about the
appreciate
Oregon
their
one.
housing.
They do.
They really appreciate their housing. You do have, and if someone who's not afraid to have agencies inspect my properties because I'm not a slumlord, there really isn't any issues to it.
Yep.
You do have some delays on people moving in because they do have to inspect a new unit, and it does have to be approved, and then they will do yearly inspections on some units, and they will cap your rent increases if they don't think the market can bear it or if there's an evidence in the market. But as far as an entity is concerned, they're a very easy entity to work with, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it is. So we work with 3 different housing authorities in the different areas we work in.
Mm-hmm.
Columbus is the largest one.
Ohio?
Columbus, Georgia. Everything's
Okay.
everything's in Georgia and Alabama. And they all have their perks. The ones in Alabama are super user friendly, and they're quick to get tenants in, and they're quick to get you paid. Columbus is a much larger municipality, and it is a drag and a slog to get tenants in. It's 100% worth it.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't get paid for 3 or 4 months. So you got to be able to front all your expenses, all your mortgages for those 3 or 4 months. You get paid back, but you're not going to get that. Like I got a tenant moved in January, and I got my first check from Section 8 for like $8,000 into April.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
So I mean, I got paid back.
Yep. Yeah, but there's delay. It's a process.
Governments
Governments have processes.
Process. Yeah,
and
yeah.
people tend to move faster than processes.
Yep.
Or want to. So so you VA hacked your way into some houses. You bought these 2 houses in Georgia. What was your next step after that?
So we were working on those 2, and a lot of what we do is I like to say faith based. I was driving away, and I saw this rundown house 1 street over from where these 2 houses are, and there's this 80-year-old man holding up a piece of plywood over a window, and his white-haired wife like trying to screw the boards on the window, and they had a for sale by owner sign outside of it, and I was like, hey, like, do you guys want to sell this thing? Like, what do you guys want to do? They had 15 people living in the house, evicted them. I walked into the house. He's like, just let me show it to you. There's like poop on the floor.
Yeah.
I mean, it was it.
Did you buy it for less than $6,000?
Oh no! I paid more for this one. This was about a year and a half later. So he's like, I want $28,000, and I was like, sure, cool. I sent him a contract. He signed it. And I'm like, I have no idea how I'm going to pay for this thing. I don't have the money for it. And I got to close in like 2 weeks.
You don't have that line of credit back that you can?
Oh no, it was a loan.
It was a loan. Paid the loan off.
Okay.
And you didn't open up a new loan?
Yeah.
Why
That probably would have been smart, but
why did you give the money back?
I mean, I was brand new. I didn't know what I was doing.
Rookie lesson number 1: don't pay him back.
Don't give the money back.
Yeah, well, I had to pay that back in order to close my refinance.
Get your DTI in place.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that night I'm like, praying, like, I don't know what to pay this. And one of my buddies calls me and is like, hey, I got $28,000. Like, I need to invest it. And I don't know where to put it. And I was like, well, conveniently,
I got a $28,000 deal.
deal.
I'll pay the $100 in closing fees.
So he invested in that deal with us, and then we started realizing kind of the power of that.
Yeah.
Was he a debt partner or an equity partner?
Debt partner.
Wow.
Well, I guess no. This one was kind of an equity partner. He's my best friend. He actually works with us now. But so the deal was, we would do all the work. We'd front all the material costs. He would put the money in for the deal, and he'd get 30% of the income. So he still gets 30% of the rent check. We paid him back his $28,000.
Okay, but you get all the
refinanced.
Equity at sale, or
Nah, he's my best friend. I'll still give him 30%.
Yeah.
I won't do that. I won't do that deal anymore.
Yeah, but it's just a 70-30 small scale syndication if you want to look at it that way.
Yeah.
So the numbers are flipped of a typical syndication.
Yeah. So
That's sweet.
we did that one. Refinanced that one. Got another $30,000 check, and I miss those.
Yeah, I'm
those
sure.
4% interest days. And high appreciation.
and that's like $100,000 house again.
That was $140,000.
Yeah. So you had to do like frickin' 80 of these things to get to like your portfolio size now.
Well,
like,
we have 35.
okay.
So it's not.
So prices have gone up. In
prices
those
have
areas.
gone up significantly.
Have you
Yeah.
changed asset classes, or are you sticking to single families?
I'm sticking. Well, I do have a deal that I'm closing on next week. That's
Portfolio
my first-
deal, right?
No, the portfolio deal. We'll talk about that one too.
Oh, okay.
We actually got that one under contract.
Look at this guy. We can't even get,
what?
what are we, 26 minutes, and he's like, oh, deals. All right, let's go.
Everything we've done right now is single family duplex triplex.
Which I'm a big fan of, by the way.
I think it's great.
It's the best loan product out there.
It's super easy to come by. We've worked with Sean, and he's helping us do a portfolio refinance of 8 of our properties that we have private money investors in to get them cashed out so that I can go and buy more deals.
Use more. Yep.
Sweet.
Yep. And they're all excited about it. They make good money. We make good money, so it's a good thing. So yeah, we started rolling a couple at a time, and then I had a house that I was working on. I was doing all the construction on, and we had an opportunity to buy another one. It was $70,000. It was a 5-bedroom, 2-bath, or we turned it into a 3-bath.
So when you look at a $70,000 house, when you're buying $7,000 houses and $20,000 houses, are you like, holy shit, this thing's expensive? Or are you just looking at the rents at that point and you've learned how it works?
I've just this is over the process of about 3 years, and I've watched all those $7,000 deals get scooped up. So there's just not a lot of probably the cheapest house I've bought in the last 3 years is $20,000. Most of what I'm buying now is 45 to 65, 70,000.
And you just bought a property in Oregon, right? Or you're in process of doing it now?
we bought a flip. I'm actually selling it this afternoon.
Nice.
So
congratulations.
Yeah.
He found one of those unique buyers in the market.
Yeah. It was a VA buyer coming from South Carolina.
Yep.
So it's easy 4-2 house. But we've also bought a big one in South Salem that's a luxury flip. So we're testing the waters.
What's a luxury flip in Salem?
Oh, well, you're gonna know better than I am.
No, I have no clue about Salem.
It's in South Salem. It's 4,500 square foot.
Okay.
It's a really nice house
What'd you
on
buy it
an
for?
acre and a half in town. 570.
570. What are you putting into it?
What? 250.
250.
Oh, yeah.
820. Is it worth
Yeah.
what? 1.1?
The CMA is 1.1 to 1. It was at 1.15, and the CMA now is.
Is it
last
south
week.
of town, south of Creekside, over in the country area?
Yeah, it's off Liberty. So it's like
Creekside's off Liberty.
2 minutes. Yeah, I don't know the area that well. I know, like I can get on Liberty and drive home. So it's right out. You're out of town in just a couple seconds.
Did you buy that thing off market or on market?
It's on market. Everything I buy now is on market.
Oh.
I rarely
Nice.
buy anything on market anymore.
Yeah. That's
Or
what-
off market anymore.
Yeah.
No.
Why don't you buy off market?
Well, I don't have the connections here like I do here back there. And then the deals that I buy, the wholesalers have realized there's just not enough profit in them.
Yeah.
So
Wholesaling's rough.
they've
I don't
actually
know.
moved out of the market, which is unfortunate because I really like those guys. But they're like, hey, I've got to make 15 to 20 grand on a wholesale, and you can't do that when I'm buying a house for 20 grand.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't think so.
I bought a house from a wholesaler last week.
Congrats.
I had to give it back this week.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, you closed on it?
Closed on it.
And then you gave it back? Did you buy it on seller carry?
No.
What do you mean you gave it back?
Who'd you give it to?
I had to give it back.
You could.
What does that mean?
We would have.
What does that mean? You gave it back?
It was
gave
a
it away.
fraudulent sale.
No.
Oh,
Wholesalers are scary, man.
Wait, how does that work?
It was identity theft. And the seller that we bought it from, who
That's
the
not a joke.
wholesaler was, no. So the wholesaler was working with someone who apparently found an old driver's license from the property owner and was an out-of-state property owner. But there was someone living in the house.
That's
So, yeah, long
crazy.
story short, we bought it on Friday.
On hard money?
Private money. Bought it on Friday with private money.
Yeah.
And then my team shows up Monday to go trash it out.
Yeah.
And so this is like the 4th or 5th time we've been there in the process. And it just looks like a vacant house with a bunch of belongings in it, like we buy all the time. We just buy vacant houses with a bunch of shit. And
You
clear
start
the shit
throwing
out.
away this good stuff.
So we go show up and there's a 90-year-old man there. He's like, no, this is my house. I live here. This is an illegitimate sale. And then
And you saw it like 4 or 5 times prior?
Yeah.
And he was never there?
Never there. Never there. But so it was bought through a wholesaler. I wasn't talking to the actual owner, but the person who did the identity theft, checking account, they created a driver's license that had a fake picture and changed the expiration date. So we think that they just found a driver's license. The notary is being investigated because there may be some cahoots with the notary side of it. Yeah. And so, I had to deed the property back. And it's funny, I got a call from an old attorney that we've used on some construction stuff. And it's just one of these random phone calls. He's like, hey, maybe you don't remember me. And I usually just worked with your old partner. But, calling for 2 things. One, we have $1,000 retainer on file, just for some work. It's like, oh, thanks for calling to let me know you have $1,000 of mine for a couple years and have done nothing with it. And he's like, and then the other issue is we have this conflict. I need you to sign a conflict agreement. And it was the seller.
So the dude, the 90-year-old was the owner of the home?
Was the owner, was the husband. Yeah, it was owned by the wife.
And how'd the wholesaler, who they got connected, did the wholesaler, were they in on it?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah. So some dude went to the wholesaler with like, hey,
dude,
I have this
they
house.
had an oil tank search done. They had bids for decommissioning the oil tank. They had a sewer bid. Like the process was done. It looked like a legitimate process of a seller who kind of knew what the process was, knew what they were doing. And so the identity theft person probably was that, where they just knew what it was. They knew how to set it up. They knew how to make it look
They had done this
legitimate.
before.
Yeah. So now this will
insurance.
change. This is going to change how the title company processes remote notaries. So this is now a company change coming down the pipeline. Precedent from this. Yeah. So like our loan documents now, we have to write out a paragraph that says I understand the English language and I do not need to interpret.
Oh yeah.
Like you have to write that out. So that's just case law, right? So case law was established. It said, well, now we need some more liability protections. And so now when you have a seller doing a remote notary, they're going to have different processes that come down the pipe for that.
Wow.
So title insurance has you covered at that point?
Yeah. Well, and dude, this is I've never worked with this title agency person. I've worked with this company a lot, and I send my loan docs over on the private loan, and she's like, do you want a lender's title policy? And I always get the only lender I do not get in title lender insurance on is sellers, because it's their property. They should insure their own title. But for my private lenders, I do, and a good thing I did. Yeah. And this lender is one of the worrywart lenders that I have. Title contacted them before they.
Oh, he was losing his shit.
No, he was so calm.
Oh, really?
He was so calm, and because that's how insurance works. They're like, hey, this happened. We're going to get you whole. We're going to try and get you whole by Friday. Maybe it'll be Monday or Tuesday, but here's the process. So
wait, but that dude collected your money. The fraudulent dude.
I think they got the wire back.
Oh,
they did get the wire back.
Figure out quick enough.
But so they have to get the wire back. They have to get the wholesale fee back. They have to get. I got funded some money, so I had to.
What'd the wholesaler say about it?
Just hey, this is like a movie. Just what it is. Like, what do you expect them to say?
Yeah.
But it was to the point crazy. Where when the old man that was there was like, no, and he locked himself inside. So there was a key hidden. He knew the garage code, so he got in through the garage code. But this person had changed the locks, so his key did not work on the locks
on his own house.
Crazy.
On his own house. Yeah, crazy.
Do you know who the person is that made the fraud?
I don't know. No. And I don't know if the wholesaler and him are in cahoots. I have no reason to believe that they are.
Yeah, so that dude's gonna get arrested and get jail and.
Yeah, but essentially, so title then has to go through every check wherever money was sent. They have to pull that money back.
Yeah.
And then wire it back.
So let's say the wire went through
I
all
assume
the way.
the wire did go through.
They were able to, they had a relationship with the other bank.
Yeah. So I was going to say this because they always do the whole like, do not send wires to the wrong place.
Yeah, you had a wire retracted, right?
Yeah. Like we can't send
They can pull them back.
And then when it actually like gets down to the nitty gritty, they're like, yeah, no, give me the money back.
Yeah.
Here's what happened. And
but
then the money they can yank money from somebody's account who's still, and
we had a wire fraud down where the wire actually went through. We sent like 45,000 and they got us 42,000 back.
Really?
Yeah, how can it not be the whole So I don't mean I hijacked.
Oh, you're good,
man. Okay, so you're not working with wholesalers. You're buying stuff all on the market now.
Yeah, I mean, I'll still if a wholesaler brings me a deal, 100% I'll buy it. But the most of the bigger wholesalers have come that area and they've moved out.
Why the hell do you want to do a luxury flip? It's a little bit of a change.
That actually sounds like a good deal.
So you're like
$120 a square foot on purchase, and then acre and a half.
You were looking for a house to live in too out here. Where you think about living
I'm still
in this
homeless.
one?
No, not living in that
still
one.
homeless. He's down in the Union.
Well, you're doing a subject 2 deal, aren't you?
I am doing a subject 2 deal. So that one's the one we're gonna live in.
Okay, so
that's in Jefferson.
Okay, I want to hear a little bit about that. But on this flip, like when you're looking at home price in Oregon coming from $200,000 homes,
you'll buy 10 houses.
Yeah, are you like, this doesn't make any sense over here to invest in Oregon? What do you think about the Oregon market, like coming to it? So Jasmine and I believe that what we're doing is definitely what the Lord has us doing, because we're providing affordable housing for people back east. And it's a really neat deal. We did feel there was a lot of stuff that happened in the last year. We felt the call to come out here, and we did. I've got a phenomenal family group. Oh, my bad. Yeah. I've got a phenomenal family group out here. I've got a brother-in-law that owns a general contractor company. One's a foreman for an electrical company. One just does general labor. One does
has an HVAC company. So we have everything in house. What they needed is somebody who could come out here and has the experience to get the loans.
Quarterback.
Yeah.
Needed KP.
So I just kind of fell into that role.
And you didn't fall into it. You gained a year's worth of experience to then fill it the way they needed it to be filled.
Yeah, I guess is a good way to put it. So Jasmine and I have really just kind of found a way to kind of put all of it together. And I got a father-in-law who I love a lot and is looking to retire. And I think this is a way that we can help fund his retirement.
Cool.
That's awesome.
You didn't answer my question about what you think about the Oregon investment.
It is hard to swallow when I have to spend that amount of money on a house, and I'm like,
when the materials are loan are like 3 houses that you own.
oh, more. Like, it's insane.
Yeah. And then you see the rents, and they're not as high, like rent to price ratio.
They're not. Like,
Are you renting it or selling it?
We're going to sell it.
Yeah.
Everything we're doing out here is flipping.
Okay.
I would love to get into doing Section 8 rentals out here.
We got this guy to the equity side of the table.
Did you?
Yeah. You just don't know it yet.
I would love to get into Section 8 rentals out here just because the need back there is so incredible. I can't imagine it's not the same way out here.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Well,
worse.
depends on whether or not we have funding. In
I'm not sure it's I mean, I'd say it's different, not necessarily worse.
Yeah.
So in Columbus, if you apply for a Section 8 voucher, you're on a 3-year waiting list.
Yeah.
And Phoenix City is the Alabama town we invest in. It's 800 families ahead of you. So there's 800. If you apply, there's 800 families who can get a voucher before you do.
Gotcha.
Yeah. There's the voucher side, and then there's the supply side of it.
That's
There's just they don't have enough houses that.
And that's why Oregon protected income is a protected class, is for Section 8. So landlords cannot say no to you just because you get a subsidy for your rent payment.
Yeah, and we can do that back east, and it's amazing how. I mean, I'll go to a meetup and they'll be like, "Oh, I don't want to rent to a Section 8 tenant because I want my tenant to work for a living." And I was like, "Well, this lady's rent is $1,700 a month for a 4-bedroom, and 100% of her rent isn't covered by Section 8.
Housing Authority. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Nobody pays their bill like Uncle Sam, so I'm gonna take Uncle Sam's money, and you can go and find a tenant, and I'll see you in eviction court."
Yep.
So when you're looking at like rent to price ratio there versus here, what is like your thought? Because you've looked at rentals now probably out here.
Out here,
you're just curious.
I just
doesn't make sense.
I know there's a way to make it work. I don't know how you guys do it. I know we'll get into it eventually. I'm just not sure exactly what it looks like.
Yeah.
But back there, the 1% rule's very easy to obtain.
Yeah. So I think right now in Oregon it's interesting because you can actually hit the 1% rule in Oregon.
Really?
In the apartment world. Not in the single
not in
family
house.
space.
I don't know how to do anything in the single or in the multi.
I made a creative offer, and he's like, "Well, what would the cash offer be?" And I'm like, "I don't know. What's 1% of your rent rule?" He's like, "What does that mean?" I was like, "Well, you got a vacant unit. You got 16 grand of income. If you add 1,500 to that, it's 18.1. I'll give you 1.81 million." He's like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, you can have 2.5 on
He's like,
terms,
but this
or
sells for
1.8.
$200 a door on a a comp.
Yeah. I was like, and you have a lot of those, don't you?
You sent him an episode of Bigger Pockets. Like, have you heard of this show? You should check this out. Episode 1.
You mean an episode of Deal Junkies?
Yeah.
Come on now.
No,
What's the subject to deal you're doing too for your primary?
So the people in our church have been obviously praying for us a lot because we're homeless. I like to joke I'm homeless, unemployed, and disabled.
Yeah, but you own $8 million of other.
Yeah. I own more houses than your average homeless man.
We have some Section 8 properties that you could move into. It sounds like you're
Hey, dude, you're
struggling right
handy.
now.
I got a vacant
I could
rental.
probably qualify. I'm not gonna lie.
I got a boarded up house down the road. You want to go?
I mean, I'll buy it and live in it. But
I'm serious.
no. I'm living with my in-laws. I love my in-laws. Like I said, we've been part of the family for forever, so it's not a big deal. But one of the guys in our church is like, "Hey, one of my buddies is losing his house. He's got a VA loan on it, and it's amazing how long you guys have to save houses out of foreclosure out here."
Oh yeah.
Years.
Yeah, what do you mean?
I was like,
I don't think you can foreclose here.
he got the letter notice of sale a couple days ago. I was like, this isn't until November. This is amazing.
Yeah.
I got plenty of time to get all the title work and stuff done.
Yeah.
There's the loan is in his grandpa's name, and it's been left to him. Title, I talked with the folks at Tricor,
probably, yeah.
Tricor, and they're digging into it a little bit. I got all the documents over to them yesterday afternoon.
Yeah.
But he's basically just willing to walk from it, and he wants us to pay off his car. At that point, it's almost a break-even deal.
Just as a rental? Or what do you mean break
No,
even
like
deal?
it'll
Just
be
the price of the house.
the price of the house
yeah.
after we fix it up because it needs some love.
But you're taking over a good rate, or like what's the?
2.25, 2.5.
How many,
Okay, so
how many
there you go.
years are you into the loan?
4.
Okay,
He
so you'll
refinanced
be
it.
4 years into a 30-year loan, break even value, investment versus value. You're not
Yeah.
creating any equity.
You would cash flow on that if you rent it out, though. I'm assuming.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
would. And that's what I would like to get to eventually. Like I'll be honest, I want some property. I got little boys. I want them to be able to run around and have fun. But I need a house. I need to give my wife a house.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get in here. We're gonna live in there, and we're not gonna stop looking for what we do. If you guys want to help me like figure out how to buy a house with some acreage, I'd be really interested because we went to go look at buy one, and I gave all the stuff to the mortgage officer, and he's like, "You don't make any money." And so how do
You
you?
just need a different mortgage officer.
Yeah, maybe. Because it's
So I think you could do a couple different deals that way. Once you get into those bigger properties, there's less buyers for it. So I think
No.
you can get more creative too.
Yeah.
I would love to look into that, but
Yeah.
first things first, I gotta get my family at home.
Yeah, just do that, and then when you're done, then you'll go to Tycor, and they'll give you a list of property owners, and then you got to call them and tell them what your story is, and find one that relates to you.
I was gonna
No.
say, I think
You could do
find
that
something
pretty easy.
quick.
I mean, we're talking about a list of like 300 properties. You know, it's not
Oh, wow.
not a whole lot of properties in Salem that qualify
No.
for what you're talking about.
So I want you to share too, because you have really good systems and processes for finding deals back in your other markets. When you were telling me about it the other day.
Yeah. So we put in a ton of offers every single week. We talked with a lot of folks that are putting properties on the market. And so like there's one that we're putting in an offer in again today. We've been putting an offer in on it for a couple months now. Put an offer in every 2 weeks.
Yeah, so share what you do, like how you track that, how you're actually making that many offers, and what
Okay.
you're looking for.
So it's I basically just scroll Zillow and find all the houses that fit my buy box. So my buy box is 1,400 square feet to 1,600 square feet, 2 bathrooms. I can always add an extra bedroom. You can find your hidden bedrooms pretty quickly. And I buy about 50 cents on the dollar. So if a house is going to be worth $100,000, I'm offering 75 cents on the dollar. So minus all my rehab costs and all that. So we're offering generally 50 to 60% of what people are listing the properties at. And so we put in 10 of those offers a week. And then we follow up, we throw it all in a tracker, and we kind of, is this a hot lead? Is this a warm lead? Is this a cold lead based off kind of the response of the person? And my realtor and his VA touch bases with them. If it's hot lead, they're touching bases every day. If it's a warm lead, it's every week. If it's a cold lead, we're following up every 2 weeks.
And what does that look like in terms of success rate?
Success rate's probably 20-30%.
Which is pretty good, I
Whoa.
feel like.
That's really good.
For offering 50 cents on the dollar, like
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, these houses are pretty rough. So I mean, and it takes a long time.
Yeah.
Because like I had a house I bought in January. We started offering on it in August, and they had it listed at 180, and I was like, I can do 110. And they're like, nope. And they came back and was like, can you do 160? I was like, I can do 110. And then it got down to 130, and I'm like, I can do 110. So every month, it wasn't me offering as much on this; it was them coming back, and eventually, I bought it for 110.
And do you feel like you're getting deals, or you're just paying fair market price, and these people just don't know what their house is actually worth?
I think you have wholesalers and realtors that are fiduciary, or you have realtors that are fiduciaries that are offering or telling people their house is worth a ton of money, and it's not.
Yeah.
These houses wouldn't be sitting for 6 months if they were listed at an appropriate dollar amount.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be coming to me if that was true.
Yeah, what we find is you start to get a really big advantage once it sits that long, because then they make big decisions towards the end of that time frame rather than just listing it appropriately on the front end. So that's where you get the bigger discount.
That's the funny thing too, is that you'll have a property that's listed for 180 and you'll offer 110, and maybe they could have gotten 140, but they never dropped price on Zillow. And so it'll be like, or they dropped to like 160, and somebody who's not in the game would have bought it at 140, but then since they never went
don't
down
even
to
think to
140, like, and we'll do that. Yeah. Like on multifamily, we're buying a deal for, 20% less than what it's listed for.
Yeah.
And somebody might have paid 10% less, but it's like they never change the price. And so I'm only saying that to the people listening because it's like your advantage is telling people what you'll pay, because a lot of times you'll get that or close to it, and it's going to be way less than even what somebody else would have paid if it had been marketed at that. But the person that would have paid that isn't reaching out to them all the time.
Yeah.
And so reaching out to them is the whole game. And like it's become more and more clear to us the longer we've done it. Like, and we're still new to it, right?
Yeah.
Like you've been doing it way longer than us, but it's just like you see a property listed at whatever price, and in reality it's 10% over, and you can offer 25% under, and nobody's insulted. It's just like, hey, like, sorry, I can't.
Some people
do get really pissed.
I'm sure,
especially in the
I was gonna
single
say, I'm
family
sure in the
space.
resi world that happens a whole lot more than it does in the commercial world. Most times in the commercial world, they see it and they're just like, yeah, like I get that. Like, and then they'll come back at 10% lower, and you wait 6 months, and then you're at the price.
Yeah, because you do similar to what we do. Like we buy almost everything on market too, and then we're not buying these things right when they hit the market. It takes us months and months because they just don't know what it's worth.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. And used to, I think I felt bad because I was like, we're trying to rip a deal. And then the more we look at deals, and like for you too, where you're like, no, I'm offering like a little bit under plus the rehab budget because I still have to make money.
Yep.
Like you're not trying to tear somebody's face off.
No.
You're lit. And so we just started sending people like, hey, this is exactly what we want to make. It's not worth our time to do this unless we can make a margin on it. So why would we pay a higher price just to break even?
Yeah.
And like not like I want to be paid to work.
One of the things I think that really is good for us, and it doesn't always work out, is it's a 2-week close, maybe a 3-week close, and it's hard money. It's no contingencies. Like sometimes I have to get appraisals on these things. It's because we're buying them low enough. It's generally really easy to get them done quick.
Yeah,
people like that.
So how many deals at a time are you doing now?
We picked up a new general contractor, Kelly, and he's phenomenal. He was working for a big hedge fund. And he was doing an insane amount of flips for this hedge fund in Columbus. We picked him up last March, and we did 14 houses in the last 12 months with him. So we
buy and hold rentals.
Of buy and hold rentals.
Yeah. So you've been scaling still. Like you're still full force ahead.
Yeah, we are. We're really just. I've set some big goals, and
what is it?
So. I'm a big fan of Section 8. I want to knock those housing list numbers down to where it's actually manageable for people to put in a voucher and get in within a certain number of months.
So you want to own 800 houses in
Phoenix City, 800, and so I think it's about 1,500 homes that we would need to do. And I know it's a big lofty goal, but I want to at least shoot for the moon and see where we land. And then if I can do it in Phoenix City and Columbus, there's no reason I can't do it in Atlanta and Montgomery. If I can do it in Atlanta and Montgomery, there's no reason I can't take it to Birmingham and Macon.
How do you decide what resources you're putting in what buckets?
What do you can you
like
for that?
You need to find your house, you're doing a flip in Salem, you're scaling the Section 8 across the country. That starts messing with your bandwidth and your capacity. And so where do you, at some point you got to start the trade-offs come into play?
I'd say we're really busy, but I have a really neat connection with my family. So we do everything together. So when I travel back east to go check on my properties, we go as a family. When we go, we have an Airbnb in Florida. If we go back to check on that, we go as a family. I mean, it's I don't feel like it's as big a deal as people make it out to be, because at least not right now. Because like my constant and my stability is my family, and they're always with me. So like,
are they working for you too? You got your kids looking for deals on
my
Zillow
kid's
and
like
stuff?
5'4" or 6'4", and like
he's flipping houses.
Oh,
They're big,
cool call.
Cool call.
But I do take them with me, and we put them on Instagram a lot, and it was neat. I was working on a house with my oldest one time. He's got curly hair, and this lady pulls up and is like, "Hey, I recognize Dale from Instagram. Do you still buy houses?" Like, yeah. He's like, "Can you come look at these houses?" We didn't end up buying them, but like I was just working.
That's awesome.
Tell us about the portfolio deal you're doing or buying right now.
Okay, so that portfolio deal did not work out.
Okay.
But that got us in kind of the mood for going after them. So the one we have under contract now is a 14-house portfolio. They were asking 1.9 back in February when you and I talked, and I appreciate you like giving me the advice just to go after it myself, because I was wanting to I didn't think I had the capacity to go.
Yeah,
after
you totally could.
Well, we are now. So it has been on the market since February, and they reached out about a week ago and was like, "Hey, are you still interested?" I was like, "Yeah, but we're still at 1.3."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Let's do it." And I was like, "Okay, cool."
And you're just doing it conventionally at 1.3, or you're doing a seller carrier or anything on it?
Oh, it's all it's Sean's helping me out with it.
Okay.
So he's helped me out through Renovo.
Yeah.
And we're tackling it that way. But they're pretty desperate to sell.
And these are all reno houses too.
No, they're actually in the nicer area of Columbus.
Okay.
So generally the properties I buy are going for $90 to $110 a square foot. In these zip codes, we're looking at $145 a square foot.
Okay. And you're buying these for less than $100 a house right now. What? And are they just worth more immediately and you refi them, or what's the play on it? Like, how do you, because you got to bring
they're
in now.
decent shape. They're not in horrid shape like what I normally buy. Normally, we're buying guts.
Yeah.
These ones already are all rented except for one of them. And they're rented under market value. Most of them are month to month, but they're in that zip code that all the Section 8 tenants. So when you are doing Section 8, you get put on these lists, and they start calling you at the beginning of the month, and they get their voucher. And it's like, do you have anything in North Columbus? It's like, nope, don't got nothing in North Columbus. Can't afford to be up there. And then by the middle of the month, they're like, you got anything in Midtown? I'm like, I got a couple things in Midtown.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the month, they're like, I'm desperate. I got 5 days to get my voucher. What do you got? And I was like, well, here's what I got.
Yeah.
These are all, I'm excited because they're all in that upper neighborhood where the good school districts are.
So how does that work for a tenant? So they get approved for a voucher, but they have a period of time to
30
then
days.
spend that voucher. And so you essentially have a very desperate person ready to
Unfortunately.
spend money before they lose that money.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's where the slumlords just take people.
So in that scenario, that backup list is more because of the landlords not bringing inventory to the market than it is the funding not being there for the actual users.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty. There are voucher holders that lose their voucher every single month because there's nobody to house them.
So you have more demand than you have supply.
So is that they're
My houses go like that.
Who are they calling though? Is it just like people who have stuff listed for rent on Zillow, and then the landlords are saying no, I don't want a Section 8 tenant?
Yeah, 100%. And
No.
You can also
shot.
get placed, like in Oregon or Home Forward in Multnomah County, they have a list. So you can put, they have a listing service. You can put your properties on there.
They
so
have that
they
as
want,
well.
Yeah.
Section 8 wants landlords to be part of their program.
Yeah.
They want to have a resource there. So they try to make those people available. So it sounds like tenants can just call you up, hey, you're a landlord, you're on this list, you've got properties I need a place, do you have something coming up?
I get 5 or 8 phone calls a day from tenants. and
Okay,
vouchers
so
that
you
are
can
looking for
actually
homes.
lease those. Your leasing is really organic. It's inbound sales rather than outbound sales.
Yeah, it's my properties. When I get a new property that's almost done,
Yeah.
2 weeks out, I send it to the housing authority.
Okay.
And generally, I'm like, all right, Kelly, hey, I need you to wrap this up because the housing inspection is like in 2 days.
Gotcha.
But Kelly's also our maintenance. Kelly's wife owns a property management company, and so they do our maintenance. So it's a really neat team.
Seamless. That's how, to answer my question, that's how. You don't have to trade off your resources because you get team members that
I guess
maximize
that
your
probably
resources.
we're man, I can't tell you how blessed we've been with having a phenomenal contractor, phenomenal maintenance team, good realtors, good lenders. And then I brought on my best friend who I went to college with. We were in the Army with. We were officers together. He's helped out in our operations, and I'm very much a 70% solution, executed violently, works 100% of the time. And Matt is very
The
meticulous.
fuck did you just say? 70% of the solution works
Executed violently.
Execute 70% violently.
70% solution, executed violently, works 100% of the time.
Yeah.
So you don't even have to be right. You just got to do it
You
violently.
just got to do it
Force
hard.
it. Yeah.
Sounds like some blunt force
I'm
trauma
with
type
that.
shit.
Which
Yeah.
you can do that back here. I'm learning
In the
you can't do that
Army.
out here.
yeah. No, this,
There's plenty of room for error back there that is not out here.
yes.
Yeah.
On that portfolio, are you just putting like $300,000 down then and raising it private money, or what's the play?
Sean says we're going to need to put down about somebody's saying we need to put down about 10-15%. So
Okay, just because it's going to appraise higher.
yeah, it's gonna.
Okay.
Once we put $20,000 in each of them,
Yeah.
I think we're going to be about 2.3.
So
Okay.
are you getting a construction draw to go on top of this?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, I see. And then you're going to refi it on the back end, and you have all the cash to just put that $150,000 down on, basically.
Sure.
Yeah.
So this show is sponsored
or
by
lend.
Renovo.
We'll make it work.
Yeah.
Shout out to Renovo. They're fucking awesome. by the
Renovo's
way.
amazing.
Yeah. They're one of the lenders I'd love to work with.
Yeah, you guys hooked me up with them, and they're the ones that helped us buy that flip in
In Salem?
South Salem. Yeah.
Yep.
So, how many apartments are out in these markets that you're looking at?
There are a ton, and I wanted to talk with you guys about one, but I didn't catch you guys at the last one.
Let's deal shop it right now. Let's go.
Yeah.
So the issue is nobody can get in touch with the.
Oh, we talked about this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just a vacant apartment building?
Well, it is now. About 3 months ago, and this was all Section 8 almost. Phoenix City went in and got some reports about some unsafe things. Found over 100 code violations, and gave the tenants 30 days to move out.
Yeah,
I
but
picked
we're-
up a
so-
bunch of tenants out of these.
You need to find the owner, but they were Section 8. They were sending checks somewhere.
So they're sending it to the property management company.
Okay.
Property management company said they haven't heard from the owner in years.
In
Really?
years? Somebody died.
So we started looking for this dude, and there are lawsuits out against this dude from Ohio Housing Authority, New York Housing Authority. Now there's lawsuits out from this dude in Phoenix City Housing Authority. The property's vacant now. It's 150
way.
units.
So he's got a bunch of
It's
properties we want.
150.
yeah, but nobody knows how to contact
Wait,
the dude.
and it's one dude. It's not an
LLC. It's a dude.
Dane will find him.
Whoa.
I mean, I think the dude's either dead, gone, or in jail somewhere.
Let's show you how to sketch
dead,
first.
gone, or
Well, I can't so these guys can't find them. The government can't find them. I don't know. I would love to find them if we could, but
so he doesn't have a loan on the property then. He can't, right? Or
I
if
don't
he's-
know.
Well, we
that's
can look it
crazy.
up. So,
I'll get you guys the information on it.
yeah, how long does it take for the city to like reclaim it?
I
or
have
do
no
anything?
idea. This is all happening
Wow.
current time. But there are a lot of apartment complexes down there. There's also one of the neat things down there is it's heavy value add. The housing authority sells off their apartment complexes.
Really?
Yeah, so it's surplus housing. So because of how things work back there, you have to use unionized labor basically to do the renovations, and it gets to the point where it is just too expensive to maintain the properties. So they they build a new one, they kick everybody out, they move them into that one, and they sell the old apartment complex.
Whoa.
And you can get those things pretty cheap.
I would think so,
But I
yeah.
mean, they've had no maintenance done on them for 30 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
That's
But you're
That's
getting them.
sweet.
You're getting them cheap.
that's the depreciation conversation.
Yeah.
Physical depreciation is real.
So-
You cannot do affordable housing without maintenance for a long period of time.
No, you can't.
What's it cost to build something out there versus
Same
what you
thing.
buy it for?
You can do
Same
new
as
I
construction.
mean, not same. It's Mart. Sorry, you finished the thought.
New construction you can do for about $95 a square foot.
You keep saying
And
Phoenix City.
labor is just cheaper.
Labor's infinitely cheaper. No, that new construction's including labor. Like that's you know,
and land
and land's dirt cheap.
loan and yeah.
You mentioned
everything's
Phoenix
cheap.
City. Is that in Georgia or is that in
That's
Phoenix?
Alabama. So it's
okay.
it's the difference in like Kaiser and Salem. There's a little river that runs between the two, but it is two different municipalities in two different states.
How big is Phoenix City?
Columbus. So if you marry the two, Columbus is the second largest city in Georgia, behind Alabama.
Okay.
It's a couple 100,000. Phoenix City is probably 60.
Okay. That's not bad.
No,
Yeah, we'd buy there.
there's a lot of people there.
Be fun.
Well, I mean, yeah, we were talking to Alex about buying apartments there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys should. I don't know how to do it. Y'all can teach me how to do it.
Well,
Yeah,
we would
you
love.
do. It's no different than buying a house.
Yeah.
It's no
It
different.
seems like a lot different. Like I'm like I can buy houses all day long, easy.
Why does it seem different?
What do you think the capacity on your management is down there?
We
With
manage everything
Kelly and his wife. That's what I mean. Like, what do you think they
Kelly
could
was
handle?
doing like 40 flips a month.
So we could do a lot of apartment units.
Kelly was
Yeah.
running a bunch of crews.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Would he have the ability to pull those same crews,
He
or
could. Yeah, he's doing a 150 unit portfolio in LaGrange, which is just north of
Wow.
them right now.
That's crazy.
That's including all the stuff we're doing, which I'm not doing anything like what they're doing. But
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you could go find a deal pretty quick there if you really wanted to.
there's
everywhere.
There's plenty of deals. One of the things I've noticed about back there versus back here, you can go into a neighborhood and 80% of the houses will be boarded up. Out here, that's just
No, that's
it's not.
and that's why you're buying houses so cheap.
Yeah,
Yeah, because nobody wants
Nobody
it.
wants to live there.
yeah.
Yeah. I like to own shit that people want.
Yep.
It's my philosophy.
Well, so we do that with the Section 8. It may not be in the best neighborhood, but it's the best house in this neighborhood. I mean, we're putting in granite countertops, we're putting in tile showers, all new electrical, all new HVAC, brand new roof, new everything.
So on a
So-
1,400 square foot flip, how much is that? How much is that if you're gutting it, but not like down to the studs? What does it cost?
1,400
you?
square foot, it cost me about $55,000.
That's just
We can't even do a simple cosmetic thing.
I did a
for
2,600 square foot one. That one that I was telling you about, I paid 180 for.
Yeah.
That was 2,600 square foot. I added a bathroom, 2 HVAC units, new roof. It was 75.
But it's just a byproduct of demographics. You have
It
lower
is.
incomes. It's just if your demographic makes more money, guess what? They can spend more money on rent.
Yeah.
Guess
Yeah.
what? If more people make more money, more people want to be there.
So,
more
like-
people want to be there. You have a lopsided supply versus demand ratio.
I'm just thinking materials. Like our materials costs on some stuff will be.
Again, you're not thinking of it in that route. Like everything's cheaper, labor's cheaper.
Mhm.
If they're making less, they can't pay more for things.
Yeah.
They can't pay more for
Yeah,
materials.
yeah.
So there's just a markup, right? So our difference between us and San Francisco is no different other than the fact that everyone in San Francisco makes a shit ton more money, and so
Yeah.
they just pay more for the same shit. That's all it is.
What kind of appreciation have you got on your portfolio out there?
Tennessee one's been really nice because of COVID. Everything else, probably 3 or 4%.
That's pretty good still, though.
Yeah.
Like,
It's not bad.
What are you saying? Appreciation, is that what you
Yeah.
said?
But a 3 or 4% appreciation on a $100,000 house.
yeah,
is not a
that's
lot.
yeah.
Even across
Yeah.
30 houses, it's not a lot of appreciation.
Yeah.
So do you have debt on these houses?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do because you've refinanced.
Yeah, I
it.
refinanced all my money out.
And then do you get 30-year loans on them?
DSCRs.
Do you have minimum loan amounts you have to stay above?
I do. I gotta
50?
stay with the DSCRs. It's like 100, or it's just under 100. I've got a couple loans that are in
So
the
you
high
need
90s.
$150,000 house to get the loan that you
Basically,
Yeah. So that's where it kind of gets more difficult. Of like, for us, leverage is just a component of what you do. Out there, you have to have the right product to get the actual leverage on it.
I do, and that's why 1,400 square foot's my minimum.
Yeah. Okay.
Because
That's-
I'm
gotcha.
getting $100 a square foot on a 1,400 square foot house. I can make that buff.
Okay. Okay.
There are people that are doing you can get 700, 800 square foot houses back there all day long, still for like $2,500. And and you can rent them out. They're 3 bedrooms. You can rent them out, get $1,100, and you're all in on this thing like $40,000.
Yeah, but
But then
how long
my
does it
40
rent
grand's
for,
tied
and
up
How
in
long is
there.
it vacant?
Yeah.
And,
If you
and then
put
your
it-
money's tied up.
Yeah, so I'm like, if I can figure out how to work those, I'll work them. I can't.
It's a
figure it
great market segment to get your momentum in, to really learn some things, to learn construction,
Yeah.
learn the process, learn how to get a loan, learn how to underwrite some stuff, learn how to hire people, how to fire people, get a good contractor, a bad contractor, and then you can take that and move it into a bigger market segment, bigger numbers.
Yeah.
Or
I
scale it.
would think on that square footage you could do the same thing that you're doing with the portfolio, but they would give you a loan for 10 houses, but they wouldn't give you a loan for one of the houses.
Yeah, if somebody's willing to do that, I'd love to give it a shot, because there's so many of those houses that are old shotgun houses.
Yeah.
So those were mill cities, so cotton mills back in pre-Civil War times, and those mill houses are still around. So a lot of the houses we're buying are 1880s to 1920s that the mills built for their employees.
And is it just wood on dirt foundation?
It's post and beam
Yeah.
mostly.
Yeah. You may have some concrete footings, may not.
Yeah, and termites. Like the house that I bought for $7,000, I was doing demo and I leaned against the wall. I'd never dealt with termites before, and I fell outside the wall and took the exterior wall with me.
That's freaking hilarious.
So I'm like, oh, I got to get this thing fixed. So, like, I mean, it's not in a great neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got to get this thing fixed.
There's a big
now.
hole in my house.
Crazy.
That house was rented out before I bought it.
Yeah.
Somebody was paying $400 a month for that house.
Jeez. Ew, dude.
Yeah, you're just supplying a money stream.
Was it a small person? They didn't weigh that much? How they leaned on the walls and it
Oh,
never
no, I leaned
fell
against the wall. I'm not a small person.
I'm saying they were the person renting it was just a little.
No, it's where the toilet was. I'm sure that weight was on the toilet. Behind the toilet, like it all just collapsed.
That's so funny.
Sweet,
That's
dude.
crazy.
Well, I love it. No, I love that, like, what you've built, and like, just thank you for sharing it. And you share a lot of this online too, right? Like
Yeah,
your
yeah.
story.
A lot of Instagram stuff.
If people want to get a hold of you, what's the best way for them to?
Alex at Alex _ the Lawson Love Real Estate.
On Instagram?
Yep.
Sweet. So, yeah, thank you guys for listening. We're going to come back
My
with...
phone's over there. I'm like, I gotta follow him
Hey,
on Instagram. Hi.
Jesus. Stay on track, Mike. We're almost done.
Yeah.
We'll come back. We're going to talk deals with Alex next episode. But if you guys like what we're doing on this podcast, text it to a friend. Any episode you like helps us out. Goodbye.
I love the cliff ending.
Bye.